Okay, let's go. Hello, everybody.
Okay, wait. She wants to eat so badly already. Okay, welcome back to another episode at The Heart Speaks. Today we have decided to change up the setting a bit, so we're in a different location. On today's topic, we're gonna talk about social media. Okay, you can start eating now. These guys are hungry, so they want to eat.
The mukbang episode.
Mukbang episode.
We have our pea bakao, our kopi, our tea.
And today we're a bit more dressed up so that we can test the algorithm of glamming up on camera and seeing whether this would boost the views. Okay, so I wanted to talk about doom scrolling. Even for me, and I'm a victim of it every night when I'm on my phone and I'm just scrolling on TikTok. I get so frustrated at myself because I'm literally brain rotting, but I still continue to do it even though I'm like physically tired to do anything. Like I can go and pick up my sketchbook and draw, but I don't even want to do that. I just want to doom scroll, you know, I just want to keep scrolling. And then I keep questioning these guys and I'm like, why is it that I'm so entertained over absolute nothingness? I want to continue to just look at random things. Like if I tell you right now what I've seen, I can't tell you like what I specifically see because there's so much content of like just 5 seconds of a small thing that made me feel entertained. So maybe I can ask you guys this question of why is social media, why is doom scrolling a problem? Maybe we can start off with that.
The example that you brought out is already quite clear. On the one hand, you want to sleep, you want to rest, but on the other hand, you might have some inner conflict. You think that you haven't done enough. So if you swing to the other extreme, you would have gone and done some work, whether it is art, whether it is homework, or something that's meaningful to yourself, but it's too difficult. So you've struck at an in-between, whereby there's this thing that is kind of rest, because it's easy and enjoyable, but it also feels like kind of work, because you're stimulated. So the truth is, it didn't help. You were neither productive nor truly resting. You only merely passed time, such that you're forced to go to sleep because you're just that tired, or you're forced to move on to the next thing because there's something urgent calling for you. So time has been burnt.
Why is doom scrolling a problem? I mean, I don't know about you guys, but when I'm on social media and I scroll, it's a very subconscious thing, but I find myself pitting myself, comparing myself to the images that I see. And there's almost this constant stimulation of everything that you are lacking or not doing. And then it starts to affect you in a certain way. Like you feel tired, but you also feel like, damn, I should be doing something else with my life. And then you're just perpetually burning energy, being stuck in this in-between.
I so get that. Like every single time I go on TikTok and I see my feed is just all these like girlies who are so pretty doing so many different things in their life. And I start to compare in terms of, wow, I'm just rotting in bed. Even though I'm supposed to go to sleep, seeing it, I'm like, there's so much more I could do. Makes me start questioning whether what I'm doing in life is enough for me. Because it leads to this topic that I want to talk about as well, in terms of why is it that for me right now, the most successful and in terms of living the happiest life is becoming an influencer or like becoming famous? Because it seems like all these famous people, all they need to do is film content and people watch them and they can earn so much money from it and they can just film their day-to-day life, you know, compared to doing a 9-to-5 job.
It's quite interesting because it's hacking the capitalist system in a way, because if you think about the myth of the corporate ladder that has been presented to us, it's like you go to work, you wake up at 9 a.m, you churn out emails, you churn out documents, and then you go for meeting after meeting and then you go back home. And then I think for a very long time, people have been saying that there is something quite problematic about that structure. And I think the desire to get out of the rat race and this corporate performance is so pronounced that being an influencer looks or seems like the easy way out, because you are able to create, because they call themselves content creators. So there's this idea of being able to be creative, doing the things you want, but at the same time reaping the benefits of capitalism, which is to get all the products sent your way and going out and living almost this celebrity lifestyle. So it's a very interesting phenomenon for me, because you are choosing not to participate in the corporate world, but still succumbing to the entrapments of capitalism. It's almost like, I guess I can see how it's very alluring because you are hacking the system in a way.
I feel like it distorts reality. It's like when you live your life as per normal, you talk to your mom, your parents, your friends, and you go online, it presents a reality that's very fun, exciting, sensational, stimulating, adrenaline rushing. And then you go, actually, this feels so much more real. Like life feels more fun. I'm living vicariously through these people. They explore, how it's like to live 100 days in the jungle and eat McDonald's 30 days non-stop. I mean, that's kind of cool. I want to see what happens. So we are sucked into this thing. And then we forget what does reality feel like. Because when you let go of social media and you go back to your friends, hey, hi, hi, it's suddenly so slow. I think that's hugely problematic. And then you would have to spend a lot of time overcoming the inertia that was already built up. Overcoming in a way, you need to spend a lot of time warming up to go back into the real world, to do your work, to talk to people, because it's not the same as social media. I think social media is, of course, huge in terms of changing the entire way things work, but also no one could predict what the bad things will happen. And here, for example, I feel more than ever in your life, if you want to actually not get destroyed by social media, you must know who you are as a person and not let these influences control you. So, for example, how many of us actually presses, on TikTok or on social media, the dislike button, like, I don't like this, don't show me this, do not recommend this. Do you know you can do that?
I know I can do that, but I don't ever do that.
I do it and it cleans up your feed. It's crazy. It's so good. I cannot recommend enough everybody to clean up your feed by pressing I'm not interested. Then people ask you why. Too sexual, too irritating, too boring, whatever. It's good because after a while, suddenly you're getting the content you actually want to see, or you actually don't mind seeing, both logically and from your heart. And this is huge. But if you don't, you are prey, P-R-E-Y, to the waves of the world. You're not in control anymore.
Would you say that the things that you look at in social media kind of become something subconscious that stays with you?
Exactly. I think there's a phrase where you make choices, but your choices make you.
Wow, I've never heard this phrase before. Who said this?
I think it was from a game called Bioshock.
But how problematic is it when you scroll social media and you don't actually make choices? You don't actually go, I want to see this content. It's just given to you, you know? It's like someone is downloading a piece of information to your brain.
Yeah, and for me, my feed right now has been all of everything about the summer I turned pretty, like this TV show. Okay, I don't know whether you've seen it. I have not seen it. I've only seen the first season long time ago when my friend told me about it, but I haven't seen anything else from it. But now my whole feed has been about the whole show, and I've basically watched the whole show through TikTok, and I already know the ending and the plot and everything. And on top of that is that I'm watching the characters right now slowly becoming famous, and I think there are people that are like kind of like our age group, and it made me feel as if like, wow, they are going to so many events that like on the red carpet, and they're getting pictures done, everyone's like fangirling over them and everything, and I was like, wow, that's so exciting, their life looks so exciting. And they get to travel to like different countries to do premiere. I mean, like as well as for you actually. And then, but then I realized like I didn't even want to know about these people. But it's happened that I'm like seeing it even more right now, right on my feed, and it makes me feel like, wow, should I have been an actor when I was younger? Because it seems so like exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And of course they have so many fans, and like why is it and maybe I'll bring it to the question of why is it that the validation of what is good comes from the number of likes or the number of comments you received or the number of followers.
It's like if I'm not posting something on social media, people assume that it hasn't happened, nothing's happening in my life.
Yeah.
But I found that when I'm at my busiest and my most fulfilled, I don't have time to think about social media. I'm not whipping out my phone going, I need to record this moment, because I'm too busy trying to live it.
Yeah.
All this is very interesting because literally, look at the cameras. I am running my own media production company. So what we do in the company is we make a lot of videos for social media, for marketing, whether it's for schools, for organizations. And that is to say social media is great because suddenly you can have your videos be viewed by more people, but you're articulating very good problems.
I mean, yeah, in the past, advertisements used to be done by newspapers, televisions. Only people who were stars, were celebrities, would have the most coverage because it was the powers that be that selected where to shine the spotlight. But the best thing about social media is that now it's almost as if we have agency over our own brands and how we want to introduce them to the public. And so, in a way, it empowers everybody to take ownership of who they are and what they are creating. But I feel like it's quite tricky because what if that brand or that person is actually rubbish?
Yeah, I feel like in order to progress in the world as a society, while still having social media around, is to be very discerning to what is good and what is rubbish, to disdain bad behavior. So which means to say, you need to call out nonsense when you see it. So I think one of the most classic nonsense is cringiness, which is very interesting, very subtle. It just looks very cringy. Do you know what cringy means? Can you define it?
I get icked.
Icked. Why?
Because if I am constantly living vicariously through the things that I watch and I behave in that certain way, it's like embarrassing. And maybe
It's just something that's so inauthentic about what you're watching that you feel your entire body like pulling back and repelling from that thing.
Yeah, exactly. There is an inconsistency between what the person on the camera is saying and how you are honestly feeling based on your natural instincts. So for example, you see three guys honestly eating food and going, guys, this is the best food in my entire life, Singapore's gem #1 drink. Wow, so good. Whoa, so good!
My dream.
Sorry. I had a bad example, okay. But it's very real, for example, but like when it's not real, there's an inconsistency. Clearly you're pushing, you're pumping emotions, and inauthenticity now confuses the audience even more. So what is real? Because again, I came on social media because I felt there was a concentration of realness, but now it's a manipulation of my emotions. And so I don't like that. I feel like we should call out cringiness. And literally, when I was in a multi-channel network, those big ones, that teach the creators of how to grow your brand, that sort of thing, one of the key things that I would keep repeating is the advice to be authentic. Yes, but how? Because what is authentic? Even the creators themselves, actually true people don't know how to be authentic. They are in the midst of discovering themselves, and the self changes. But then you are worried that, oh, if I change myself or I say something different, my audience won't like me anymore. And so there's so many fallacies in so many different directions with social media. When at the end of the day, actually, yeah, the protection against social media to me has and always will be, do you know yourself very well?
So I fully get it, right? When social media is a means to an end. For example, you need to sell a product that maybe is very beneficial to people. Like genuinely there was a lot of love that was being put into creating this product. And social media is the platform in which you let people know about it. Very valid. But this is completely my personal opinion. What I struggle to understand is when social media is an end onto itself. And I am specifically talking about influencers whose entire identity revolves around the number of likes, the number of followers, the virality, almost like this image of themselves that they post. And there is no other end to it. It's just, I want to be famous. I think what is problematic about it is it's a cycle. You get famous because you want it to be a way of earning money from ads, from getting sponsorships. So you begin to review products that you don't actually believe in, or do things that are repetitive and you don't actually have fun doing it, but you're doing it because they fit a certain formula. You are selling an illusion that this is the life that people should aspire towards. I think a hill that I'll die on is that I think social media influencers who are using social media solely as a means to get popular and famous are no different from charlatans in our society today.
What's the meaning of a charlatan?
Someone who lies, who tricks, almost like as a job.
Like a con artist.
Yeah. I think exactly people who use social media for that end are the con artists of modern day society. Okay, end of story.
And then I think it's interesting to follow the note of what is fame. The whole idea of it seems so fun, to be so admired by so many people, or like to have such a big, in a way, community that supports you. But maybe we can talk about the dangers of actually getting famous. Like from all the examples of rock stars that fall into like drug abuse and everything. And how, I think we talked about the other day, how it's like a ladder that we should be able to climb up and down. Yeah.
That's true. Because I can imagine someone watching this going, what's wrong with wanting to be famous? Doesn't everyone want to be famous? What do you think?
So in the wanting to be famous, you strive hard, you work hard, you study, you investigate, you work with people, and maybe congrats, you did it. You produce a piece of art, a video or a music piece that is really good. People love it, and boom, the spotlight is now on you, and you love it because you're getting money, you're getting attention, and what's the natural state of the order of things? The spotlight is going to shift again. Another person comes up with another great piece of music, and you go, shit, can I do it again? But it was really, really hard, Or you think this way, I am already popular, so I should stay popular. And then all the people in the world are saying, no, you're growing old, you are washed out, that kind of thing. And that's where the term one-hit wonder comes in. Oh, this person is a one-hit wonder. Just one time good, and then that's it. Face off the face of the world. And it must come into mind, like, a lot of people who become famous feel like they should stay there, or feel like they made it, and therefore are terrified to let go. So it's like, I think you climb up a very greasy pole, and it was very, very challenging because you keep sliding back down. And then finally you got to some height, okay, you hold on really tightly, and you don't want to step down anymore, so you stop trying. A lot of people who are one-hit wonders stay that way because they just don't try again. They never feel like their second work is ever good enough. And they say, you know what, I'd rather die or be remembered as a hero than to try a second time and to realize that, and to let the world realize that actually I was not that good after all. So as you can see, there's this thing called the
Imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome, that's the word. So then comes the big question, what is the truth? Are you good or are you not good? And perhaps the truth is, it doesn't matter. The point has and will always be to endeavor to climb up the greasy pole, slide back down, climb up again, and then realize, oh wow, I'm so much higher now. Try again, oops, I slide back down, and then do it again and again and again. The point is never to stay on top because the spotlight will always keep shifting. The point is to, as you say about the ladder, climb up and down the ladder so many times that you are strong. And therefore, the whole game of fame or not fame is pointless because you know that you can be one moment famous, one moment not famous, and then famous again, not famous again. And so the whole concept of fame is no longer valid. If you do that, the worldview that you have is dynamic. It keeps changing and therefore it's beautiful. The world is beautiful. But if you think that the world is static, or if you think that you should stay famous, you have automatically declared that the world doesn't change. Therefore, if I make my second piece of work and it's not good, I have declared myself as a failure, and since the world is static, I'm always a failure forever. That sort of thing. But most of the time, we don't even realize that that's how our worldview is. All we feel usually is, you don't like my work. I feel so angry. I feel so like hated upon. I feel like you have just insulted my very existence. But there's such a fallacy going on here. Yeah, why are we so sensitive to people calling out our work? Usually, I mean, again, on the whole concept of social media, for people to say, oh, I used to like this person last time, now I don't like this person anymore, for example. Or, I used to like this person, but this person has not changed at all for the last 30 years. This little kid, who was making kids content, is now 30 years old, a man with a beard, and he still makes kids content, and I go, goodness gracious, why does this look so wrong?
I think a lot of people want to be famous before they actually know what fame entails. Because fame is not something that you can control. It's something that comes and goes. It's something that, I guess, it's this weird otherworldly thing that you can't quite define, but then you are constrained by the expectations of your fans or the paparazzi, where everything you do is almost being scrutinized upon. I think fame keeps you from being your truest self because it molds you to present yourself in a certain way to society, to in front of the camera, and you do feel like you cannot be vulnerable or authentic in certain ways because it's very natural that we want to put on a mask. So this masking, I feel, is not natural for a human being. It's something that cripples us the longer we have it on. It's like, how do you grow a shell so thick that you forget you're wearing a shell, but it's like an armor? I mean, I'm sure there are people out there who want to be famous, and maybe they're a very special breed of people. But I feel like selling the illusion of fame as this thing that is so profitable and so desirable is actually quite toxic to society because it puts so much intrinsic pressure on people to want something out of everything that they're doing instead of actually trying to explore who they are and to fall in love with what they're doing.
I had this thought about some older dramas that I saw on YouTube or on those video sharing platforms. I'm thinking of Toggle in MediaCorp. That
I've never heard of it.
Oh, you think of it like Netflix, but for Singaporeans. There were videos or stories about people accidentally going viral online and then their whole world changes. This is a fantasy. I can assure you of that. Like, you could capitalize on something that makes you go viral, but all these people are all dropping like flies. You know, like, I think a very classic example is the Hawk Tour girl, if you heard of her. Goodness gracious, what a story.
What happened?
What happened to her?
So she was a teacher, and on TikTok, someone was interviewing her, like someone asked her a question, and she said, "You got a Hawk Tour spit on that thing." So it's a sexual innuendo about that thing. And because of the way she said it, she went viral. She capitalized on that virality to create a podcast, merch, and then she was getting quite popular. So she went on to create a coin, like a Bitcoin sort of coin. She called it the Hawk Tour coin or something like that. And then she did this thing called a rug pull, which is you sell the coin to many, many people, and then you have all these coins, you sell all the coins immediately, and you cash out like a tremendous amount of money. And people hated her for that. And until all the police got involved, etc. And she completely phased out, and now it's under legal charges. So it's like a complete rise and a complete fall so quickly. I have not seen almost anybody who gets your one hit wonders and then can stay on it. It's very similar to winning the lottery. There are so many stories about winning the lottery and then going back to bankruptcy later on. There's a very, very funny set of videos I saw, which is guidances as to how to win the lottery, and maybe by extension, how to go viral. And one of the examples being, once you win the lottery, tell nobody, and make sure you do not go for the press release, because the press, we don't want to take pictures. If you go for the press release, and they take a picture of you with the $1 million check, you've effectively told the world a bounty. You put a sign, an aim sign, a crosshair on your head and say, "I am now worth $1 million, come kill me." that kind of thing. And like somewhat similar for social media, although not so drastic, is that if you change your worldview because you think sort of differently because of the virality, you kind of let it get into your head, and you fail to understand that actually life is beautiful in terms of the challenging, then I think, yeah, this is how like the throne of popularity is both flimsy and poisonous.
Yeah, man. And I'm a victim of this poison for real, you know?
your 140 views.
Yeah, my 140 views, which I am so happy about, made me think about why I do this podcast in the first place. And what you guys have been always constantly asking me as well. And each time I have a different answer for you guys, you know, like, oh, I want it for myself. But if I truly want it as my own archives, of course I can keep it in my videos, right? But then I wanted to share it to the public because I wanted to find a community of people, of like-minded people. But then I realized that it's so hard to find a community of like-minded people when I've been like the people that are watching is such a small community in the first place, right? So then I'm like, okay, so does this mean that I need to go become viral in order to find a community of like-minded people? So then this whole process of like, oh damn it would have been great if I'm famous, you know? Like if I already had 12k followers on my Instagram, I can reach out to my Instagram followers and like pull them into this podcast, for example. But then I also realized that half of my followers right now is I mean they're also following me for a different reason, right? They're either my friends or like, I don't know, even my friends, some of my friends probably are not even interested in the conversations that we're talking about. So then it made me think like, is the only way to find this community is to get bigger? The whole idea of you have to kind of sell yourself to the public in order to prove your worth. It's like a CV, but an online CV, you know? Like your followers is the number of jobs that you've done, for example. And then that made me think, and then I just came to a conclusion actually. I just let it like do the work, put it out there. If it becomes big, it becomes big, but like don't care about it too much. So not to fall in that trap and that cycle of that whole idea of fame.
Thank you for sharing that. Sounded very vulnerable.
I remember when we started this podcast, you said that you were just going to upload it to the internet and then you will let the algorithm distribute it.
Exactly. That's what I said. I said I wasn't gonna post on my Instagram. I wasn't even gonna do like any publicity for it. But then of course like I realized, okay lah, 1 view. Damn it. I kind of feel like I want more people to watch it. And then of course there's really nice comments on like I think the first video of like 2 people that I don't actually know that commented and said that like keep discussing, which was like, honestly love that comment. But then of course there's always going to be haters that do not resonate with the things that we say, which is fine, completely fine. But it's also like, why? Okay, like comment more, then tell me more, ask more questions, you know. But anyways, and I feel like maybe you can share, Ranice, because I don't know whether you want me to say this in the podcast, but Ranice just is featured as the lead role in Amoeba, which is a film right now that is going around the world, is touring the world, and she went to a few premieres. So maybe you can share that experience. So this is the poster for her film, and it's a film by Tan Si-yo, and I think Ranice can share more about it, maybe. Her experience right now, at least. Because I think it's premiered only in 2 festivals right now, right?
At this current point that we
At
are
this current
going. I mean, it's very interesting for me because, of course, when you go to movie premieres, there is a lot of fanfare that surrounds it. Like you get to walk the red carpet, then you get people who ask you to sign autographs. You actually see people watching you on screen and telling you how much they love and resonate with your work. And I actually see in me the temptation to think like, oh, what if I walk down this road of chasing after commercials, or let's say I now become a social media influencer so I can ride on this wave. But when I was on the plane flying back to Singapore, I realized that what gave me the most joy going to Toronto and Busan, which are A-list, like very big A-list festivals, wasn't the clout that I was getting, but it was actually talking to the people who were there, who were also there to promote their own movies, to learn more about the process of making the movie itself, talking to my director, understanding how she sees the world and what kind of considerations went into editing and why she chose to take out certain scenes and leave certain scenes behind, and how she felt when she was working on set. Like all these things made me feel more fulfilled than the pictures, than the press release, than the business of stardom. And when I didn't have these moments, when it was just running from, let's say, one photo shoot to the next, I did feel a bit of emptiness. Of course, I'm very, very happy to promote the movie, and everything that I do is just to tell people to please come watch this film because it's created with so much heart and so much soul and so much attention to detail. And I think the movie is a star. It's not me, and it's not the fact that I shot a movie.
I can't wait to watch this movie. Come on, the cinemas already, please. If Singapore is watching this, you better put it in the cinemas. Okay. How about your experience watching it as well? Maybe you want to share about that. I mean, we're kind of segue
Yeah.
on social media, but
I mean, because I used to make social media videos a lot. When I watched films, it did change my perspective quite a bit because after a while, you feel like, okay, what is the film trying to do? Because it's long. It's a long journey of an hour plus, whereas social media is much more faster. But this is great. I have so much positive things to say about Amoeba, the film. I was so entranced. I was taken on an emotional roller coaster of sorts. And I could see like a very, very powerfully layered cake where so many different flavors you can like feast on. So because it's deep, like there's so much deep meaning to it, you are rewarded if you pay attention. I think that's the key. Like, so therefore the movie is a piece of art. You are rewarded if you pay a lot of attention to it. So you see small details, you ask yourself, why is it like that? And then if you think about it, and then you will find a realization, and that's brilliant. So I think when art is done like that, it's incredible. Now, of course, because it's so difficult to make a film, as opposed to social media, when it does go big, the stardomness is enormous, I can imagine. It's very, very big. Not to mention that actually social media can also do the same thing. You know, when a video goes extremely viral, like everyone's talking about you, then that can also have that allure. But I like kind of where we're going, which is that when the art or when the content is created, it is the star. But we continue our lives, you know. We respect the effort that's been put in, but we move on. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah.
and it's so interesting. I feel like on that aspect of like movies or like films that I think we talked about, like art that makes someone think and like actually have emotions and feelings when they see it, you know, and not like dangerous art, right? And I realized as well, like content creation that is absolutely like when I would scroll on TikTok, I can scroll for an hour long, which is like as long as a movie, but I don't think at all. It's just absolutely no thought in my brain. Actually, so bad. Because I could actually spend my time watching one film and that is meaningful, that makes me think even more.
Or if you're tired, you could have taken a 1 hour nap and that would have been great. Yeah. There is a trade-off here, you know, when we doom scroll, or worse, when we create content for people to doom scroll on. Goodness.
Yeah, exactly, right? Why will you feed the monster?
Yeah. I have a lot of critique as well, you know, on the creators who are so insecure about themselves that they do not reveal the soul. Rather, they find out what would feed the monster and then just churn that wheel, you know. You're just feeding junk food of sorts, like just grease to people to just consume.
And they think that feeding the monster will get them famous.
Correct, yes, because I'm able to create a lot of this.
Because everyone else is doing it, so it means that is the right way to do it and like hop on all the trends and everything. Because that's what's in, right? Or something.
Correct. The validation of their very existence depends on the view count. What a way to live, you know.
I was gonna say that because of the way social media works, it's 1 minute shorts. I think it alters our brain chemistry in some way that I feel it affects the kind of art that people consume. They are less likely to sit with something and to contemplate something because everything's just like, if you don't like it, it's almost as if you can just like fast scroll forward or you can just change it. How do you think that affects the human psyche?
I think we sacrifice our ability to think.
Yes.
There is a terrible, terrible cost to the satisfaction of doom scrolling. Some people say it's dopamine addiction. No, not so simple. Even deeper. You don't even know how to think anymore. You don't even know how to listen to your heart. You don't know what you want.
So for context, Simone Weil came out with this concept of the mathematician. And the mathematician is someone who does a calculation, and every time he lands on an even number, for example, he gets punished. So she asks the question of, what can this mathematician do? Does he lie about the answer that he comes up with? Does he hide the answer that he comes up with? What does he do? And what are the consequences of being punished? And I feel like that's very similar to social media. I mean, of course, no one comes at you beating you with a stick, but there is that implicit judgment, I guess, of if I don't follow a certain trend, I'll be left behind. Or if I don't go on social media, then I wouldn't get this networking opportunity because people wouldn't know who I am. And that is very insidious because it actually conditions us to feel like we constantly have to chase after something. And therefore, it takes away our ability to think lucidly whether this thing, this cup that I really want, is it something that I truly need and want, or is it because everybody's carrying around a cup and it kind of looks very cool right now? It's the trend. And when we start to lose the ability to identify what we authentically and truly want in the moment and what is a trend, when we lose the ability to think individually for ourselves, I think it hollows out a person. And the effect of that is we start to see people with no agency. You start to feel as if, oh, you are a victim of circumstance. Things happen to you, but you don't really have the power to change your life. You feel like, oh, I'm stuck in this job, but that's what everyone around me is doing, right? So it must be right. So as a whole, you start to see this wave of powerlessness. And at the same time, a rise of narcissism, because how we deal with this lack of agency in ourselves is to try to solicit approval from the people around us, trying to impose our will onto things like, no, my opinion must be correct because I don't really know who I am. So if I have an opinion, I'm going to hang on to it damn tightly so that it becomes the center of my universe. And then, of course, you see a very opinionated person getting into arguments with things around them, people around them. The world starts to be classified in black and white. And then, of course, you can talk about global issues, like how this gives rise to, like, I don't know, dissent. People hurting each other because they are from different political parties or different religion. And we start to lose this, a very humane way of making space for differences. So it's actually a cascading of cause and effect.
Circling back to how I feel, the people that actually do make such beautiful art and actually doesn't even care at all about this whole idea of fame. I feel irritated when they do not post more about it, show the world the work that they've done. Because I'm like, wow, it's so amazing. I want more people to see this because it's affected me so much. And then, but because the social media, publicizing isn't good enough, people don't recognize it and they don't give this a space for it to be seen, or I don't know, because they would rather go to someone with 70k followers than a person with 1k to publicize them on their magazine or something like that, because it would just reach out to more people, right? Then how, guys? Then how? But I already know the answer to it too, that if they're meant to see it, they're meant to see it as well. Like, I feel like as much as people go up to each other and be like, oh, the work is so good, like, I think maybe that word of mouth is enough. I think this concept of, oh, you have so many followers, I'm going to feature you in my film, but you're the shittiest actor in this entire world, but it's because that you have so many followers, I give you the opportunity to do that. But that also means that that film is probably going to just be marketed the wrong way.
But I mean, if someone thinks like that, if they go like, oh, you have so many followers, so I want to feature you, in a way, the producer of that film and the influencer are meant for each other.
I believe that the whole world is changing its direction, mainly because of AI. With AI more so than ever before, the demand for authenticity is higher. If not, I can see a random influencer and go, this is AI generated.
I mean, now even AI are writing people's Instagram captions and Instagram posts, and there are so many Instagram accounts with thousands of followers, and then there are those carousel of short phrases, and it's so obvious that ChatGPT wrote this for them.
Yeah. I think it's so funny that we wrote an email the other day to send out to someone, and Julian made a careless mistake, and then he was like, it's on purpose so that they know it's not AI. So that it's real, it's from the heart, and I'm sending you this message and I'm typing it. It's not a ChatGPT answer. So now spelling mistakes and errors feel more real.
Oh, the boom is in short, yeah, it is for real.
Yeah, I have hope. But also, I would ask back something. Let's assume your influencer works with a producer that wants to share this piece of content, then they just make it based on how they always been doing it, so they churn the wheel. It gets shared to maybe 1 million people, but half of them are bots. Half of them are fake anyway. So it doesn't matter. But whereas, for example, I literally feel so moved by Suyo's film that I'm going to watch anything she puts up. I'm like a diehard fan already. And it was said and taught to us last time within the creator networks that 100 diehard fans are better than 1 million followers. And what does it mean to be a diehard fan? It means I know you as a person already. You are like my friend, and I'm going to follow and see what's up because I care about you. And that's so precious. It's an authentic relationship as well. I think the building of authentic relationships are more important than anything else. But let's think back about like the history of all artists who did it because they wanted to do it. They never got famous or they never had the world see their work until they passed away, for example. So what, you know? At the end of the day, the value of a person and the happiness that each of us has is our own to keep and need not be linked to fame. Very similar to the idea of like, you see the most beautiful flower in the entire world on a field and you go, oh my goodness, everybody needs to see this. You take a picture but it doesn't do justice. So do you pluck the flower so that you can bring it home and show your parents? Or do you just greet the flower, marvel at it and then move on, you know? Because it is not your job, it's not your responsibility to make other people famous, but to work on yourself actually. And if you're deeply moved, then you can show your appreciation. And that's the end of your responsibility, actually. Social media is very, very luck-based. And as is we, like, for example, if we want to use social media, I respect that it is luck-based. And also in the creating, the joy should be in the creating. The joy should be in the, you know, they say like, oh, just move at least just one person to be your best friend. You know, let's add in, like, not just move one person, but one person so moved that they become your best friend. Then that's very, very precious. Yeah, you actually helped somebody. That perspective is a lot more empowering. And of course, if it goes viral, then cool. You nod your head to it and you move on again.
That's a beautiful ending.
Of course, like, I mean, there will be a lot of question marks that come afterwards because not everybody agrees to your point of view. I would like to bear in mind that two other concepts must not be neglected. One being money, but money is not the same as fame. Money is demand and supply. An entrepreneur thinks that way. Like, if I create a device that saves the life of a person when they have a heart attack, you know, like pacemakers, not many people need them. But they change the life of a person so significantly that you charge a lot of money for it, for example, in terms of the technology. So, or for example, if you have a patent for a bolt and a screw, it is far more significant than any other kind of patent because it works for everybody, that kind of thing. So money is different from fame. That's number one. And number two is, in fame, you will see the entire world, which means many people will see you and many people have different points of views. So that's why you have, like, you know, maybe 1 million people telling you that you're lousy, maybe 500 people saying that no, this is incredible. Who is more right? Is it a democracy? But truth is not a democracy. Truth is truth, full stop. So just because 1 million people say one thing does not make it truth. And I think this is a very scary concept that gets muddled when we talk about social media. So if you bear these points in mind, I feel like we can be more precautious. We can be more cautious and yeah, just take care of yourself.
I think people always also kind of like the lines are blurred between like, oh, the fame gives you more opportunities to become rich because more people see you, more people give you like modeling jobs, and then you can earn so much more money from this.
Yeah, but likewise, I can say if you take a nap longer and you stop scrolling on TikTok, you will have more opportunities because you're more awake. You know, go and exercise for goodness sake. You know, there's too many things you can do in life. Need not just be one. And if that door closes, there will be another door that either opens or you have more time to look at other doors.
Okay, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, leave a comment and we'll see you again soon. Maybe in this location, maybe in a different location again. And when it is out, go watch Amoeba.
I think it will come out only next year or in film festivals.
Yeah, in
I don't
film
know, yeah.
festivals.
So we are promoting it very early.
Yeah, actually it is a very early promotion. But I am so excited to watch it, that's why I also can't wait. Julian managed to watch it, but I
Twice,
and he cried 5 times, can you imagine?
per viewing. Oh dear.
So yeah, I'm very excited to see it. So thanks for watching. See you again soon.
They cut off. Well, at least one must be recording.
When did it cut off?
It's 6 minutes, so you like